Welcome to A Guide to Every Deck in EDH. Today we're looking at Lilah, Undefeated, Slickshot. So Lilah is a 3-mana Izzet commander. She's a 3/3 human rogue with prowess, and she says, whenever you cast a multicolored instant or sorcery spell from your hand, exile that spell instead of putting it in your graveyard as it resolves. If you do, it becomes plotted. You may cast it as a sorcery on a later turn without paying its mana cost. So basically, with a delay, all of our multicolor spells get doubled, which means that a lot of spells become even better, and a lot of spells that weren't good enough initially become good enough once we get 2 copies of them without having to pay for the second copy. So to start us off, obviously we're going to be running a ton of instants and sorceries, and therefore we want cards that can pay us off for those instants and sorceries. So cards like Fiery Inscription to deal damage to our opponents, Third Path Iconoclast to make 1/1s, Rite of the Dragon Caller, and Dika to make bigger creature tokens, and Poppet Stitcher for more tokens. We've got various cantrip and filtering spells, which again, normally wouldn't be very good. So let's take Arcane Infusion as an example. Look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal an instant or sorcery from among them and put it in your hand, and then put the rest on the bottom, and it flashbacks for 5. Not very good, but when we can do this twice for only 2 mana, becomes a hell of a lot better. And the same thing is going to be the case for a lot of these spells, with some of the ones that were probably already good enough initially being cards like Flame of Anor and maybe Izzet Charm and Progressive Iteration, and then all of these other cards just get a lot better when we double them. We've got our card draw, which includes things like Archmage Emeritus, and then some spells that also fall into the camp of getting doubled, like Blast of Genius, Thought Flare, Steam Augury, and Practical Research. We've got Galvanic Iteration and Teach by Example to copy things, and it is hypothetically possible to cast 1 copy spell and then cast another copy spell on the stack to keep copying things, although that's pretty difficult to set up. Bunch of counter spells, fast mana things for we play spells, we get mana or treasures out of them. Fairly straightforward land base with Rush of Inspiration being an add-on here because it works well with our commander. A little bit of protection for Lilah. Bunch of ramp, including the cost reduction cards for instants and sorceries, so Baral, Case of the Ransacked Lab, Goblin Electromancer, Stormcatch Mentor, Ral Monsoon Mage, and Thunderclap Drake. We've got Experimental Overload to get spells back, and as well as Pinnacle Monk. Bunch of removal and bounce, some of which we've seen already, and then Psych Rift for a sweeper. So again, we don't have any specific combo in here necessarily. We're mainly just looking to make big beatdown tokens with Dika and Rite of the Dragon Caller, or just kill our opponents over time with something like Fiery Inscription. And for the most part, we're just looking to play a value control game with all of our various spells that we're getting copies of. Although, for something like Dika, who triggers off of copying spells, it is hypothetically possible to combo by playing multiple copy spells on the stack that just keep copying each other over and over, therefore making infinite tokens with Dika, although not too likely. So again, mostly a value control plan. And with that said, that is going to do it for Lilah, Undefeated, Slickshot in EDH.